Welcome to the MLB postseason live show at The Athletic. I'm your host, Alec Lewis. I am the Kansas City Royals beat writer at The Athletic. Pumped to be here today on this Friday afternoon, joined by Royals shortstop Nicky Lopez. Nicky, thanks for hopping on.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Look forward to talking about some crazy stuff.
Yeah, I guess let's just start it off. We're going to talk about last night's game, the Dodgers and the Giants, and the infamous check swing. We're going to preview the next couple rounds too. Also going to have a special guest in about 10 minutes, so probably give him the entirety of the air. So we'll go quick here talking about last night's game. I guess first, Nicky, just what did you think of that game as a whole and the series and how competitive it was? With the Dodgers obviously ending it, beating the Giants 2-1.
Yeah, it was going to be a good game. It was going to be. I didn't think it was going to be high scoring, but you never really know when you have an opener and then you have obviously Logan Webb, he looks nasty. So I don't look forward to facing him. But I'm glad he's in the NL. But yeah, you never know what's going to happen with an opener, and then obviously a 2-1 ball game going late into that game, and then timely hitting. Dodgers bullpen is one of the best in the game. So when you start as a bullpen day, it's pretty tough because you're only facing guys once or maybe even twice tops. But like I said, timely hitting. My man Darren Ruff came up huge for the Giants, Creighton alum. But yeah, just a horrible ending.
Yeah.
I don't want to, I'm trying to cover my butt a little bit. You never want to see a game end that way. Even if you went even a little bit, you want to see Scherzer either punch him out fair and square or whatever it is. But yeah, it was a tough ending to see that, and to see the replays where he didn't go, it was pretty tough.
Yeah, I'm curious. Like, what do you think if you're in that game with as competitive as it was, and obviously as you're seeing right there, Wilmer Flores checked his swing, but he just did not go. It was pretty obvious. If you're in that game and it's as intense as these games of postseason matchups get, I don't know. What would you think of it ending that way?
Yeah, as a fan, I feel like even anyone at that game, you see that and you see him call it on a check swing. Obviously, Dodgers fans are probably super pumped, but you never really see a game end that way, let alone a winner take all going to the next round in the playoffs. So that would be a hard pill to swallow. I saw a stat though. It was like guys who go to 1-2 count against Scherzer are not really faring very well. So that's what would have happened. But like I said, you hate to see it end that way.
Yeah. I do wonder because you talked about the opener, and I think we talked about this last week. But as a hitter, when you're facing that many arms, and when they're throwing guys like Brusdar Graterol, who's throwing 101 mile per hour two seamers, how like as a hitter, what is your approach when you're facing so many guys like that? Just time after another, and your timing, I guess, against all of them is probably different.
Yeah, it's tough. Obviously, I've had a short career so far, but when you're going to face against an opener, you kind of have to look a little bit past them. This is what from experience. You kind of look past them because they had Urias come in for the later part of the game. So you're like, all right, well, if I'm going to face him 2 or 3 times, you kind of got to spend a lot of your time there because you're going to have some meaningful at-bats later in that game. But as an opener, facing an opener, especially against a guy like Graterol, I was going to say fortunate enough to face him when he was, but it wasn't very fortunate. But you try to just get the barrel to the ball. A guy who's throwing 100 to 103 miles per hour, and then he has a slider and cutter at like 95. You just try to get the barrel of the ball. He's gonna supply all the power. So if you get a barrel of the ball and just kind of hope for the best and see if you can get some grass or catch some grass, but other than that, you kind of got to put most of your focus on Urias. I would think.
I had one more about the check swing too. This is a little ridiculous, but you've obviously had so many check swings in your career. Do you usually know? Like, do you ever really know? Do you always know? It's kind of a random one, but
it was one of those things. It's like you check swing and you're so competitive and you're in that at bat. You're literally living for that at bat, and when you check swing and you're competing and you see the umpire say you went, you don't want to believe it. Obviously, everyone's going to say, "What? No, I didn't go." And then you get back to the dugout and you check the iPad, and when you do see it, you're kind of like, "Oh, all right. Well, I guess I did go." But you never want to believe it. We're so competitive. We're competing each and every day. And, we work so hard to get to that at bat. Work so hard to get to where we are. And it's tough to see because in those times, sometimes you don't go and they do call it. So that's when you wish you didn't check the iPad. You wish you didn't. You wish you didn't. You just kind of lived with it. But I hope Wilmer didn't check the iPad. I mean, it's all over social media right now, so I'm sure he saw it. But that was a tough one.
Zach's asking, should there be replay for those calls in the playoffs? What do you think? Putting you on the spot.
I don't. But then again, it's
yeah.
It's like it kind of it didn't decide it, but you never know. Next pitch, he maybe leaves one up and he finds a gap, or he leaves the yard for a walk-off home run. It's one of those things. It's like get to one more pitch. One pitch can decide the game. So do I think maybe that should be worked into the replays? Maybe. But then I also do accept the fact that human error is part of the game. I really do. I know a lot of people are pushing for those, robo-umps, all that stuff. And, people have their own thoughts about that. But I do believe that human error is part of the game. And it's been that way since whenever baseball started. So I'm a big component of, hey, human errors, you got to kind of live with it. But also when it does kind of get in the way of deciding a game, it's tough.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And I think the balance is, it is so difficult because you don't want to slow down the game. You don't want to stop the game, but you obviously want to get those calls right. And I'm with you in terms of the human error. I think that's part of what makes baseball special and different in a lot of ways. And
I do, though, believe that replay was one of the best things that did come into the game as well. There's a happy medium between both of those, I think. But I do believe that if there is a call to be made, the right call should be made. But then again, like I said, human error is definitely part of it. So it's definitely a happy medium.
Have you ever faced Blake Trinan with the turbo sinker slider? I don't know if you could.
I believe I think I faced him one time in spring training. But I don't think he was really obviously blowing it out.
yeah. No. He probably wasn't going the way. It's crazy.
So he doesn't look fun. He doesn't. He looks like he competes his ass off on the mound, which is great as a defender, as a infielder. You love playing behind guys like that. So he looks like a bulldog up there, and I think we play the West next year, so I'm sure I'll face him once or twice.
We'll bring in our special guest, but last one on this. To see the Dodgers pull this out, regardless of the way it ended. Just what'd you think of the series as a whole and how competitive that was, and probably how good for the game? And then to see the Dodgers pull through, what do you think about it?
It was a great series. It was one of those series that you kind of don't want to end because they were so equal. They both played really good baseball. They both 1-9, bullpen pitching, defense was unbelievable. I love watching good defense. So defense was there, and it came down to the last pitch. And what more does a baseball fan want than that to happen? So, like we were saying earlier before we got on, it was one of those. We wanted to keep going. Like I feel like they should be playing tonight because they are so.
I'd be watching.
I would be watching. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Dodgers. I think I said before, whoever wins the Dodgers Giants series, and whoever wins the White Sox Astros series might go on. But I do like the Braves. I like my man Soler. So hopefully he can get better. Yeah. I know there's some bad news on him, but hopefully he can get better and compete out there.
No doubt. Well, if our camera's working, we'll bring in
Coach,
our special guest, Coach Ed Servais. He's the coach of the Creighton Blue Jays. He has been, Coach, is it 18 years, 17? I don't know.
This is 19 now.
This 19. I knew it. Yeah, I knew I'd be wrong. First, thanks for joining us, Coach.
Sure.
I don't know. I could let you two guys talk about defense, probably.
Yeah, we could
For
fill
our,
some time up.
yeah, I imagine. Coach Servais, have you watched these playoffs, and if so, what have you thought about just the quality of these games and the playoffs in general? How much have you enjoyed it?
Well, I love playoff baseball. I love the intensity that the players play with, the emotion that they play with. It's fun. Last night's game was great. I would have preferred the Giants to win for obvious reasons because we have a former player playing with the Giants who did fantastic last night. But the American League has provided a lot of offense, which you normally don't see a ton of in the playoff baseball. The National League has gone what you normally see, pitching, defense heavy. Runs are hard to come by. Usually comes down to a pitch or a play or a home run. So it'll be interesting to see if it continues to play that way. I think there will be more offense in the American League. I think defense and pitching will continue in the National League. And then whoever comes out of that, it'll be interesting to see how the World Series goes. But I enjoyed last night's game. I'm a big defense and pitching guy. And that's what we saw last night.
Nicky, when you hear him say big defensive pitching guy, like how I don't know how much did he preach that over the years?
Oh, I lived it each and every day. I got to work firsthand with Coach, and that's why it put me in a successful position starting from the minor leagues, and that's why I think moved up the ranks pretty fast because he put me in such a good position to compete right from the start. I always tell a story, but right when I got there, no one told me anything about defense. And obviously we have Rafi Belliard, we have Eddie Rodriguez, guys working defense, and I just did my thing that I learned at Creighton University, and I just kept going. And no, it was great. But I texted Coach yesterday, Darren hit the home run. I was like, I'm sure we'll be talking about that tomorrow.
Yeah. Coach, what did you think when Darren? I mean, that was a gigantic home run. I think 452 feet straightaway center off the pitchers that there. I think it was Julio Urias. I mean, what did you think seeing him do that? What went through your head?
Well, I was real impressed with Darren's first two at-bats. He hit the ball very hard. I thought one of those was going to be an extra base hit, if not both of them. He hit him to the wrong part of the field. Right center field in Frisco is about 415 plus. And I was just really impressed with how he handled those two at-bats. He was very aggressive. He hit the first pitch thrown to him. I was happy to see that. Darren has a tendency to work counts a little bit. And I was hoping that he would be aggressive and get away from the breaking pitch and get a fastball, which he did the first pitch in both his first two at-bats. I was sitting next to my wife, and I said, I've just got a good feeling about this next at-bat because, as a guy who sits in a dugout and observes hitters, that's how we evaluate hitters during the course of a game. We don't go on results. We go on how he approached his at-bat. And I was just really pleased with how Darren did his first two at-bats. And then lo and behold, he gets a 3-2 pitch. He gets another fastball. And this guy's power is impressive. Nicky, 452, man. That's good stuff. Straightaway center.
Those are one of those balls that people hit, and as an infielder, you don't even turn around because that ball's way gone.
And Darren knew it was gone too. And we all know Darren's actions well enough, having been a part of our program for 4 years. Darren hit it. He quietly set the bat down, and he ran around the bases. He knew that he got all of it. And then I watched his expressions in the dugout because they showed a lot of them in the dugout. He was very composed. He knew that they had tied the game, but they had a long ways to go. I believe it was in the 6th inning. So I was just real happy for him. I'm disappointed. I'd like to see him continue to play, but I hope he re-signs up with the Giants next year if the Royals don't get him. And I think he's got a couple really good years left in him, and I'm real happy for him.
Nicky, what's it like for you to see a fellow Creighton guy on that stage do what he did? I mean, I don't know how inspiring. I don't know, motivating.
Even though I didn't have the privilege to play with Darren, I've met him. I've talked to him multiple times, and he's a class act. You're not going to meet a better guy than him. So when I see success like that, especially a Creighton Blue Jay, I tweeted it out. I was pumped for him. And you just like seeing people where you've played a lot of three very important years of baseball, and you see where he came from, same spot, and see him deliver on the biggest stage is something very, very special.
I'll do another quick one for both of you guys. Nicky, as you play and are on the field in this day, in these years, is there anything that Coach Servais used to say that just like echoes in your mind all the time? Anything he used to say?
You use your legs, get your legs underneath you, use your feet. He always, as I always look back to freshman year, and sometimes when you're a freshman, we do a lot of throwing at Creighton, and I think that's why I can pinpoint why I have accurate arm, and we throw a lot. Sometimes as a freshman, my arm was hanging, and he would always say, "Use your legs, use your feet, use your legs." And it's really true. So sometimes when I do get in trouble with balls that are, tailing away or balls that are going in the dirt, it's because my legs aren't working. And if I get a good direction to first base, I get my momentum going to first base, that ball is more times than not going to be right in the chest.
We got a question from Twitter for Coach. Coach, when did you know you had a good one in Nicky?
I think the first week of fall ball. He just had very active feet. He was a very quick learner. He wanted to learn. He enjoyed playing baseball. Not a given that every player who plays college baseball enjoys it. Nicky did. Very coachable. And I knew we had one here. Now, I wasn't smart enough to figure out he could play short as a freshman. I put him at third. And then we finally woke up a little bit and put him where he belonged at shortstop. But it didn't take long. It doesn't take long with the really elite players that I've been fortunate enough to work with. You can tell quickly, and a lot to do with just their approach to the game more than their skill set. And Nicky's approach was different. I hope it never changes. I hope it always stays that way, because that's one of the reasons why he's an elite player, is he enjoys playing. And it was fun working with him, but he was very coachable, and he really had good feet. And I look at the feet of an infielder especially as one of the most important things that he brings to the table.
We went through, Coach Servais, you and I we had a film session from one game where Nicky, I think, had like 5 putouts. It was a performance of sorts on the defensive side. We're gonna preview in a little bit, but Coach, I'll ask you this, and how impressive was Nicky's year as a whole, and how much did you enjoy seeing what he did? Obviously, the numbers there speak for itself, but even from a base running perspective, just all of it, how much joy did you take seeing Nicky do what he did this year?
Well, when you consider where Nick came out of spring training, it had to be a blow for him not to break with the club the first day, and then for him to catch a break. Nobody ever wants to see anybody get injured, but I believe there was an injury that caused Nick to get called right back up to the big league roster, and for them to, take advantage of that opportunity, get himself on track. We all knew Nick could handle it defensively. The question was, how quickly was his bat going to come? And then how quickly could he become that kind of chaotic base runner that I know the Royals are looking for? And I get a chance to watch a lot of games here in Omaha. They carry all the Royal games. So whenever I was free, I would rush home quickly to see how Nicky was doing. And then I saw him make a few adjustments with his swing. He became, he started to hit the ball the other way with a lot more consistency. He wasn't rolling over the pitches that I thought he was maybe at times last year in the early part of this year. He choked up on the bat a little bit to have even better bat control. He's always been a good contact guy, so his strikeouts were never an issue. And then all of a sudden, I saw this relaxed player take off, and he got more confident. And he was doing things that I saw him do when he was here at Creighton. And he started to take into some individual leadership components too, even though there's a lot of good leaders on his team. And so I'm not totally surprised. It was fun to watch. It was a blast. And then I got a chance to go down there twice and watch them in person and just sit there and kind of soak it all in, realizing that it wasn't that many years ago that Nicky was with us. So nothing Nick does surprises me. I think the Royals are on the verge of doing some special things. I think Nicky would agree. They have a tremendous nucleus, and I know the front office is going to do everything in their power to get the Royals over the top. But they have a lot of really good young players, and I think the fans in Kansas City are in for a treat here for a lot of years. They're building it the right way with in-house young talent, and it's once those young pitchers kind of get their feet on the ground, it's going to be fun to watch.
Nicky, you got any parting words for Coach Servais?
I agree, man. That was good. No, I do think the future is bright, and Coach, I really appreciate everything you've done for me. Yeah, he knows that I respect the world out of you. So, no, but I do think the future is bright. I know that we're a couple pieces away, but we do have some really good veteran leadership. We got some guys who have established themselves this year and who are going to keep chugging along, keep making the team better. And then when those young guys come up, who knows what's going to happen. But I had a question for Coach. Coach, when you came down to Kaufman, you're watching the game between the Mariners and the Royals. Who are you rooting for?
Well, I wanted you to get 4 hits, and then I wanted the Mariners to win, 6-4 or something like that, because they were still in the hunt at that time.
They were.
They were hunting as many wins as they could. I believe they were down a couple games out of the wild card when they came to Kansas City. And of course, the game I come to on Saturday, you guys hammered them. And I know Scott was disappointed. He shot me a text soon after the game, and he was disappointed. Now they turned around and won Sunday's game and played better. And then they had a good week of baseball until they finally lost 2 out of 3 to the Angels at the end of the year. But yeah, it's never easy watching when 2 of our former players are going after each other, or in this case, one's a manager, one's a player, one's very close to me. And so I wanted you to have a great game, and you did, but I would have liked to have him win those 3 games. And you can go back and win the next 15. That would be great. I wanted him to win that series.
All right, I got you.
Awesome. Well, Coach Servais, longtime Creighton baseball coach, thank you for joining us. Glad we got to do it. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back to quickly preview these championship series rounds, and then let you enjoy your Friday.
Cool.
I'm Dan Sinnermita, sports betting editor at The Athletic, here with a few things from the odds to watch for as we head into the LCSs. The Dodgers were a favorite before the season. They were the favorite before the playoffs, even though they had to go through the wild card game. And they're still a clear favorite as we head into the LCSs now. They are plus 135 to win the World Series. Houston is next at plus 220, followed by the Red Sox at plus 450 and the Braves at plus 550. LA is a huge favorite in the NLCS at minus 225, while the Braves are plus 185. The most likely specific outcome is the Dodgers in 5 at plus 340. On the AL side, Houston is minus 150 to go to the World Series, while Boston is plus 125. That series is expected to be a bit longer, with the most likely outcome, according to the odds, being Houston in 7, which is plus 375.
All right, well, we're back. Going to preview the championship series real quick. Some rapid fire. We got 5 minutes. We'll go through it. We'll start in the National League. I was going to ask about Freddie Freeman. I might as well just throw Mookie Betts in here. 2 guys. I think everybody who watches this game respects them both and the way they go about it. I mean, just those 2 guys. I don't know if you've had interactions with those 2 guys, but just what do you think of them as players and kind of what they mean to the game, just from someone who's obviously in it?
Yeah, the 2 times I actually did meet him, obviously spring training against the Dodgers, and then I think in 19 I met Freddie, just standing on first base with him, and just 2 class act guys. And you love to see guys that have all the success in the world, all the money in the world, all the fame, but be really good people as well. So you love to see that, and they're easy guys to root for. I think when you see like a Freddie Freeman and a Mookie Betts on their respective teams, you kind of look at like Sal for us, guys who are kind of their heartbeat, the heartbeat of the team. So you could see that in Freddie Freeman. It's pretty special.
I know you mentioned Atlanta. Obviously, Jorge Soler. He was on the COVID-19 list. Hopefully, gets back. Just well wishes there. But do you think Atlanta has a chance here?
I do. I really do. And the reason why I think they do is because, I mean, they lose their best player in Acuna, and then you see a team kind of rally and, you know, kind of pick it up, and everyone's doing their part. And I feel like sometimes that's a scary recipe. They're playing for kind of maybe a different reason than others, you know, kind of just, hey, you know, we're going to do it for him kind of thing. And, you know, teams kind of look for any motivation possible. And, you know, they have good pitching, they have timely hitting, and then they have guys who can leave the yard as well. And then obviously Sully. So, but they play team baseball, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah. We'll switch over to the NLCS. The ALCS. You said the winner of the Astros White Sox series you thought would be able to make it out. What with the Astros, what impressed? I mean, you guys played them and I think beat them in a 3-4 game series this year.
Mm-hmm.
What about that team stands out to you?
Yeah, they play with a chip on their shoulder. Obviously, you know why they kind of have a chip and why no one really cares for them. But no, they have depth. They have good pitching, good bullpen. They've been there before, and it seems like they always come up big when, you know, in big situations. So I think that's a good recipe for success. They have a really deep lineup, 1 through 9. They have a really deep lineup. I played against Jake Myers when he was at Nebraska, and he's a really good player. So I hope he can get back in there and play because he's a great kid too. So that's going to be a very, like Coach Servais was saying, that's going to be a very good offensive series, and I'm looking forward to it.
Are you sticking with your picks? I think you said it would be Astros Dodgers here. Are you sticking with that? I was way off on mine, so I don't even.
Yeah, well, I still think I'm going to stick with the AL. As far as the NL, who knows, man? I mean, who knows? But I mean, I might as well stay in. You know, I might as well stick with the picks just because you did it a long time ago, so you might as well stick with it. But I'm not going to make any changes.
Yeah, you go with your gut, and then we'll get out of here on this. I mean, these playoffs, it seems like the Red Sox-Rays series was as competitive as really I've seen. I mean, just watching throughout these entire games, it seems like defense, situational hitting, that stuff just has stood out. Pitching, obviously, but how much have you enjoyed just the entirety of the competitiveness that these games have brought? Yeah,
there's nothing like postseason baseball. And that's a dream of mine, is to play in the postseason, hopefully very, very soon. And I think when you look at teams that win in the postseason, it's teams that have pitching, defense, and then timely hitting, and the hitting comes last. And it's pretty incredible. You kind of look back at the 14-15 Royals; they get to the 5th inning with the lead, and their bullpen just shuts it down. And so I think that's going to be key for this postseason, but there's nothing like postseason baseball, and I look forward in the near future playing in it.
Soon enough. Well, Nicky, thanks for joining us. To all of you who have watched and commented and sent along your questions, we appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in to the Athletics MLB postseason show. I think we'll probably do one ahead of the World Series if we can get together and do one more and preview it. But thank you again, Nicky, and you guys enjoy your weekend. Enjoy these championship series. Should be fun.
Awesome. Thank you, Alec. I appreciate it, man.
Of course.
Thank you, guys.
Dropping in with some exciting news. The Athletic is now on TikTok too. So for more sports news, trends, and highlights, make sure to follow us here at The Athletic on TikTok.